If you don't have any air conditioning, first thing I want you to do is I want you to go outside, and if you see this, we're gonna try something first. First thing we're gonna do is pull our disconnect to prevent any more damage. And then we're gonna remove this access panel. We're gonna take a reading on our capacitor and see if it's out of range. Now, you don't have to take a reading. You could just buy a new one and plug it in and see if it works. If it works, great. You saved yourself a service call. If it doesn't work, we're gonna have to investigate a little further. Might be the fan motor. Capacitors are cheap. Cheap enough that it's worth giving it a shot and replacing it. Before you pull off any wires, the first thing you're gonna do is on the capacitor, you're gonna write down what color wire is on each terminal, or you could take a picture, whatever helps you remember, just so when we put everything back together, it all goes back the right way. We're gonna do Y for yellow, B for brown, and R, P for red and purple. Sometimes if you have a brown wire and a blue wire and a black wire, putting B isn't enough information. So what you would do there, BLA for black. You can write BLU for blue, BRO for brown. Anything that's gonna help you remember what wire goes to what terminal is the whole point of what we're doing. Before we disconnect our wires, we just wanna take an insulated set of pliers and we wanna just connect terminals to discharge any voltage that could still be in our capacitor so we don't get a nasty shock. I go from 1 to 1 and then work my way around, making every combination just to discharge it. And after we take the wires off, we're gonna do it again just in case, we didn't get all of it. This is another way that we could discharge our capacitor. You just wanna make a connection between all the ports. You don't have to hold it for long, just enough, and we're good to go. All right, so this is a 40/5 microfarad capacitor, 440 volts. So this plus or minus 5% is the allowed tolerance that we could deviate from our numbers. So we're gonna take a reading. Now, if you don't have a meter and you don't know how to take a microfarad reading, this is where you would just buy a new one. Buy a 40/5 with 440 VAC capacitor and just swap it out, put a new one on, and see what happens. If it doesn't run, then we know, okay, we probably have a problem with our motor. If it runs, great. To check our capacitor, we're gonna set our meter to MFD. It might show you the symbol of microfarads on your meter, but every meter is different. And what we're gonna do is go from our C terminal to HERM. C is our common, HERM is our compressor. And we're gonna connect our probe. You wanna scratch a little bit to make sure you get off any oxidation. And we've got 27 microfarads, so that's already low for our compressor. We're supposed to be 40. Now we're gonna go from C to fan. Again, we're gonna scrape a little bit to get off any oxidation. And we're reading 0.9 microfarads. So there we go. Our capacitor is bad. We're gonna put a new one on. All right, so we got our new capacitor. It's a 40/5 microfarad Titan Pro with 440/370 VAC. So we could use this on either or. And we're gonna take it out. And, a little bit smaller. That's okay, it doesn't matter. Every manufacturer makes them a little different. So this could be a little more square or smaller, taller, doesn't matter, as long as the rating is the same. Now we just gonna follow all the letters we have written down on our old capacitor. Our brown is gonna go to our fan, the red and purple are gonna go to our common, and our yellow is gonna go to our compressor. So we're gonna put back our disconnect in. And there we go, we're up and running. just a side note, this condenser is absolutely filthy, so we're gonna have to spend some time cleaning this too. You know, we're not just here, big picture, getting it running, we want it running properly. We're gonna clean the condenser coil and on to the next. I understand everyone might not like the way that I went about doing this, but let's be realistic. Capacitors are cheap. They go bad all the time. It doesn't hurt to just give it a shot, swap it out, see if it works. If it works, you saved yourself a service call. If it didn't work, then you're gonna have to call someone and they're probably gonna have to replace the motor. And please, if you don't have the proper tools, you don't have a meter, you don't have insulated pliers or anything, don't attempt this. You know, it's not worth getting shocked or electrocuted over. So if you don't feel comfortable doing it, just call someone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below.